Tonight, fishing for answers. Local anglers say warmer than normal waters are causing trouble for fish in some Minnesota lakes.
Plus, primaries during a pandemic. What changes you should expect when it comes to voting this year.
And an upward trend. After a 5-year low, there's some relief in sight for Wisconsin's dairy farmers.
From CBS3 Duluth, this is the CBS3 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Kristen Bakke.
And I'm Anthony Matt. Thanks for joining us. You can probably feel it for yourself, but it's been hotter than usual this summer.
According to the National Weather Service, we saw temperatures 4 degrees above average during the month of June. So far in July, we're trending 7 degrees above average.
And that's heating up our inland lakes, including a very popular fishing destination near Tower. Data from a University of Minnesota report shows Lake Vermilion's average summer temperature is 70 degrees. This year, a local fishing guide tells us he's measured water temperatures more than 10 degrees higher.
CBS 3 meteorologist Alex Libby explains why that's concerning for fishing guides whose business depends on the lake's musky population.
It was amazing. It was awesome.
You can't beat the excitement of a first-time angler. Tammy Spooner says she was thrilled when she reeled in this monster muskie this summer.
It was like liberating, like reeling that in, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And it was so big.
And that feeling is what helps pay the bills of muskie fishing guide Bob Benson.
These fish are incredible creatures. They're as important to me as this dog is to Mike.
Benson spends his days on Lake Vermilion. He keeps track of the water temps there, too. He says his data shows our stretch of hot and sunny days has driven water temps into the low 80s, which is about 10 degrees higher than usual. And it's a phenomenon that's been very hard on the fish.
We're out in 110-degree weather, and you exert a lot of energy. It's hard to recover. So these fish are now having a very hard time to recover.
According to the Minnesota DNR, while warmer water increases a fish activity and can lead to them feeding more, it also holds less oxygen, so mortality rates can increase during warm periods. If temperature trends continue, Benson estimates 10 to 20% of the lake muskie population could die. It could also leave him with a tough decision to make.
People like myself have to keep the resource in mind. If I think we're going to lose fish, I'm not going to fish.
So Benson's made changes to help keep his business running and preserve the fish. He hopes anglers cruising the lake on their own will also take note.
The most important thing is having a large net that you can keep them in the water. Get all the hooks out, while they're in the water, in the net, and then quickly, bring them on board for a quick measurement, a quick photo.
For guides like Benson, these fish are their livelihood, and when they're happy, he's happy.
DNR experts added that some fish, like sunfish and bass, actually thrive in warm water and grow faster during warmer summers.
And Dave's here to give us a look at the weather. Dave, some warnings have popped up since we last spoke at 5.
Yeah, the threat for severe weather is paying off right now in portions of Lake County here in Minnesota,
Okay.
The central parts of that county. So let's take a look at the map. It will be in effect until 6:45. The main threats, of course, are high winds over 60 miles per hour, hail, which some towns have already reported, and they've been going towards at least the nickel to quarter size. So that's a problem as well. Thunder and lightning, the thunder's not such a big deal, more scary than anything else, but the lightning, yeah, if you see it, flee it, stay safe that way. So folks in Lake County, keep under the gun there until about 6:45. Looking at our radar map here, we can see that line of storms in that neck of the woods is on the stronger side, wrapping up fairly tightly, but hopefully will be gone in about 45 minutes. Still a chance for redevelopment till about 11 o'clock tonight, and then a break comes around for Friday. Higher pressure, a brief visit, makes it mostly sunny during the daylight hours, but a more organized line of storms could kick up severe weather for a bigger portion of the region very late Friday night through a good chunk of Saturday. We'll talk about that possibility of paying off then coming up in a few more minutes.
Thanks, Dave. We're less than 1 month away from August's primary election when voters will narrow down the race for several major seats.
Polls in the Twin Ports will look different on August 11th as officials take steps to prevent any spread of COVID-19. CBS 3's Emma Quinn spoke with officials in Duluth and Superior to learn more.
This August, casting your ballot in the Twin Ports will look different than in years past. Duluth City Clerk Chelsea Helmer says they want voters to be prepared.
To accommodate social distancing, we are anticipating that may mean that there are lines leading outside of the polling place just to ensure that voters are kept at 6 feet apart.
While the effort to spread out might mean lines, both Duluth and Superior City leaders hope voters will consider casting an absentee ballot early. Helmer says Duluth already has seen a lot of early voters.
We've had approximately 8,000. We are far ahead of where we have been in previous elections as far as the number of folks who have requested a ballot by mail.
And it's a similar story in Superior.
3,200, and we're on schedule to do that for August. And then in November, we'll probably triple that number.
Superior City officials say Wisconsin's elections this spring were chaotic as COVID-19 precautions and regulations were changing at the state's capital. But for August's elections, they've had more time to prepare.
We really didn't know what to expect, and then the legislature was changing the laws for elections almost every day. We have best practices in place around the state.
City officials in Duluth say they've also had to increase their volunteers to help prepare for the election.
Just because some folks, may not be comfortable working on election day, they may be considered at risk. And so we knew we were going to have to do some additional recruitment.
As August 11th approaches, city officials in the Twin Ports want to remind everyone to cast your vote one way or another.
For more information on absentee ballots, polling places, and anticipated restrictions in both cities, you can head to our website. More than 1 million Americans filed for first-time unemployment benefits last week as people continue losing their jobs to the pandemic. More than 17 million Americans total are out of work. Many companies are still either cutting jobs or being slow to rehire. 40 states are seeing their number of cases grow, and 22 have either paused or reversed efforts to reopen.
The city of Virginia is pausing several youth sports programs after a softball player tested positive for COVID-19. City leaders say they learned about the confirmed case last night. They decided to suspend the Babe Ruth Junior and Senior Legion baseball and all-girls softball programs. Organizers say they made the decision with help from health experts and with community safety in mind. Anyone with questions or concerns is asked to call Virginia's Parks and Rec Department. We have that number on our website.
Target is joining the list of retailers that will require customers to wear masks to slow the spread of COVID-19. The policy will go into effect August 1st. More than 80% of Target's 1,800 stores already require customers to wear masks due to local and state regulations. Target said Thursday that it will hand out masks at entrances to those who need them. The nation's largest retailer, Walmart, announced this week that masks would be mandatory in all stores starting Monday. Starbucks, Best Buy, and Kohl's also have put mandatory face shield rules in place.
The city of Bayfield is now requiring people to wear masks in public spaces, both inside and outside. The number of cases in the Chequamegon Bay area increased from 5 to 15 after the July 4th holiday. Bayfield's mayor says to protect the small community, they're now requiring masks indoors in any business or city office. People also have to wear masks when they're outside in public places and unable to social distance. The city is also asking Bayfield County to issue a mask ordinance. Meanwhile, the Washburn County Health Department also issued an advisory today recommending people wear masks when they're inside public places. The new guidance comes after the county's COVID level rose from low to medium yesterday. The county cited its high number of older and high-risk residents as a reason for the mask advisory.
Dairy farmers are seeing some relief in wholesale milk prices after hitting 5-year lows during shutdowns. The price of wholesale milk has nearly doubled in recent weeks. Dairy industry experts say the increase in prices is due to government buying food boxes, restaurants opening back up, and low cheese prices driving up the export market. Wholesale cheese prices have tripled what they were. Experts say the price fluctuations are not expected to be very noticeable to consumers.
A Hibbing teacher charged for allegedly sending naked pictures to 4 kids via Snapchat will stay out of jail while his court case plays out. Jordan Kachever, a teacher at Lincoln Elementary, was in court for the first time this morning. The 27-year-old was charged late last month but was summoned to court and never arrested. Prosecutors say Kachever's supervision comes with conditions like no contact with kids and random searches of his phone and computer. He'll be back in court next month. Today, school district officials say Kachiver is still on administrative leave while an internal investigation continues.
A southern Wisconsin man died in a Lake County motorcycle crash early this morning. It happened just before 2 a.m. on Highway 1 near Silver Bay. The 45-year-old was heading south when authorities say he drove off the road and his motorcycle flipped. The crash is under investigation.
A section of Duluth Road will close starting Tuesday. It will impact the stretch between Glenwood Street and Martin Road. Detour signs will be in place and residents will be able to access their homes. Crews will be working on culverts in the area and relocating a gas main. The project should be wrapped up by the end of August.
Still to come on Live Local CBS 3, no beer, at least for this year, why Duluth's Oktoberfest is being put on hold.
Normal high is 77. We achieved 80 today. 97 is the record from that big warm spell in 1936. Over the weekend, some towns could get close to 90 as warmer conditions come around. That may help fuel a round of showers and storms. We get a few tonight, but more tomorrow night. We'll talk about them coming up after our break.
Live, local, CBS 3 News at 6 with Kristen Vaki, Anthony Matt, Kelly Hinson, and weather with meteorologist Dave Anderson on Live, local, CBS 3. Watch Dave, Caitlin, and Austin for local weather you can trust on CBS.
Welcome to Medical Insight, a weekly healthcare feature brought to you by the experts at Essentia Health. Here's your host, Louis St. George.
Today on Medical Insight, Dr. Amanda Noska, an infectious disease specialist at Essentia Health, discusses Lyme disease, a tick-borne illness commonly found in this part of the country.
Throughout Minnesota, it's highly prevalent, but rural areas tend to be more heavily concentrated by virtue of the fact that Lyme has a transmission cycle that involves white-tailed deer and mice and woods. One of the very difficult things about Lyme disease is that it can be confused with other things. Lyme disease can present with headaches. Many people have headaches, and they're not always from Lyme disease, but it can present from headaches. Over half of the people with Lyme disease have profound fatigue. They feel very tired, in other words. Neck stiffness can happen. Loss of appetite, that's very common with Lyme disease. To diagnose Lyme, to actually get to the diagnosis, one thing that is very reliable is finding a bullseye rash on your body. That means you've been exposed to a deer tick within the last 7 to 14 days usually, and it's a sign of acute Lyme disease, early localized disease, and that is a telltale sign that you probably have Lyme disease and should get treatment.
Aside from daily tick checks, Dr. Noska suggests wearing dark-colored clothing, tucking pant legs into socks, and using DEET-containing repellent.
We have a very high incidence here, so removing ticks, if they're stuck to you, is important, especially before they're what we call engorged or full of blood. So you have 36 hours from the time a tick is on you to removal. You're unlikely to get Lyme disease because it takes a while to get into the body and manifest itself as infection.
For Medical Insight, I'm Louis St. George.
This Medical Insight was brought to you by Essentia Health. To learn more about the services we offer, visit essentiahealth.org.
We dance for healing. We dance for one another. For connection. In ways like no other. Together. Or even apart. We are resilient. The 2020 census is here, and we need to do our part for our people.
George Floyd's death has inspired a movement. We are witnessing it right now.
I think there's a level of bias in every individual.
Is bias training enough?
It's a start.
We have to talk to people, listen.
What do you think history teaches us about this moment we're in?
This is a time for us not to rest.
Why is it important, do you guys think, to come out?
If we just stayed home, nothing would change.
What do you hope comes from this?
This is what's coming from it, and the change is here.
CBS 3 News is brought to you by Duluth Casino. CBS 3 Weather is brought to you by Nicolay Law Office. Now, the CBS 3 Duluth WeatherMax forecast with meteorologist Dave Anderson.
We do have a severe thunderstorm warning to talk about. It's in effect until 6:45 p.m., and it mostly affects Lake County here in Minnesota, just outside of Babbitt, which is right on the border between St. Louis and Lake County, from there towards Silver Bay. So for the next half hour or so, keep an eye to the sky and seek shelter if one of those storm clusters is right over your head. It could be packing 60-mile-per-hour winds and a bit of lightning as well, and hail. Hail's already struck in Chisholm where this storm originated, and we have this picture coming in from Kathy Vaki. Name sounds familiar, somebody's mom. I think it's Kristen's. She took this picture of some decent-sized hail in that neck of the woods. And so keep in mind there's an unorganized on and off chance for potentially severe weather tonight from a trough of lower pressure, but a more fully fledged real low pressure system comes around tomorrow night, and that's when we really could get a big line of organized powerful storms coming across late Friday night through Saturday morning. First though, we talk about the current conditions. The here and now at the airport in Duluth. It's 78, 56% for the relative humidity, south-southwest wind. It's 11 miles per hour, and our air pressure on the lower side holding steady at 1,011 millibars as this trough of lower pressure works through our area. It's the same one that brought some showers yesterday. Now it's continuing to track through, bringing showers today. Temperature-wise, 77 for the Upper Peninsula, pretty close to 80 for just about every town here in northwestern Wisconsin. And the bag is more mixed in Minnesota, of course, because that's where the showers and the storms are a little more prevalent. So where there actually is some cloud cover and some precip, it's cooler, 66 Ely, and where there isn't, Grand Rapids, 76, warmer. So that could go back and forth here as the night goes on. Doppler map right now shows that that line of showers and storms did rumble out of the Mesabi Range and now is heading past the Vermilion and into Lake County and towards the Gunflint and the North Shore. Be careful in this neck of the woods, and just keep in mind there's a 60% chance that your place in Minnesota could see some of these storms tonight, 30% shot for Wisconsin and Michigan. Then tomorrow, high pressure takes over until Friday. During the daylight hours will be a gorgeous day, but it'll be warm and humid as well. And then from the west, that organized low pressure system comes in to feed on that heat and humidity, converted into showers and thunderstorms. 60 to 80% chance late tomorrow night through about noon on Saturday. That will happen. And again, the potential is there for strong storms. So we'll keep an eye on the Doppler and the sky for you as we track those systems. Tonight in Minnesota, low temps will be in the 50s for the most part. 60% chance for more rain. 30% chance, like I mentioned, for it to strike Wisconsin and Michigan. Lows near 60 there. Now we take a look at the forecast tomorrow for Wisconsin and Michigan, and it'll be sunny and warm and humid and highs in the upper 80s for a couple of towns. Mid-80s more likely for Minnesota with 70s by the lake. Sunny day, stormy late night. By late night, I mean it may start around 10 o'clock near Grand Rapids and then filter across to the rest of the region by 3 o'clock in the morning. And then by Sunday, go away. Sunshine returns on Sunday, Tony, after a stormy Saturday. Then it'll be slightly cooler on Monday as temperatures drop back into the 70s. Closer to where normal high temps are supposed to be this time of year.
It was quite the hail that Kristen's mother sent in, my goodness. You'll be sure to keep an eye on things if more of that starts to materialize
That's
tonight.
for sure, Tony.
All right, thanks, Dave.
After postponing fundraisers due to the pandemic, one Duluth nonprofit is back in action. PAVSA, the program for aid to victims of sexual assault, held a cupcake sale and barbecue today to raise money for the charity and advocacy group. The cupcakes sold out in just 1 hour with more than 1,100 gone by noon. Executive Director Sarah Nemi says the fundraiser is a big relief during a time when outreach has been difficult.
It's difficult for staff morale when we have to, continue to cancel things and having kind of that unknown. And then it's also good, I think, for us to be present in the community so that survivors know we're still here, we're still providing services, and that you can still access us.
The nonprofit has continued services throughout the pandemic, including a 24-hour helpline and legal support.
In some sad news tonight, Duluth's Oktoberfest will have to leave the Lederhosen on the hanger for this year. Just a year after its inaugural event, Kern & Company announced today they had to cancel this year's festival. They blamed the uncertainty surrounding the pandemic. They hope to bring the German Heritage celebration featuring music, food, and dancing back to Bayfront next year. Meanwhile, a family favorite for the past 3 decades has canceled its 2020 event due to the pandemic as well. This year's Chester Bowl Fall Fest has been canceled. It was supposed to be held in mid-September, but organizers say they didn't feel they could hold the event safely. It typically showcases local artists, music, farmers, and more. Organizers plan to be back next year.
Ahead in sports, we have a full report from the Park Point 5-miler. Plus, the UMAC makes some changes to their fall schedule. All this and more right after the break.
Get your new John Deere mower from Duluth Lawn and Sport, the region's largest power sports dealer.
CBS3 live cams are brought to you by Kohler Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac. You're not just getting a car, you're getting Kohler.
This right here is confidence in a bottle. It just gives you such a boost of confidence.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something on the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home. I had the timer on, and we were screaming. 4 minutes, 34 seconds, completely gone.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. These lines bother me. They really do. And this is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. So it targets all those problem areas.
So this would be a daily thing? Or
It absolutely could be a daily thing, but the way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger, this is it.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work for your face after your first application. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
We dance for healing. We dance for one another. For connection. In ways like no other. Together. Or even apart. We are resilient. The 2020 census is here, and we need to do our part for our people.
The 2020 Subaru Crosstrek. It comes with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, plus an economical 33 miles per gallon. And the Crosstrek has the lowest 5-year cost to own in its class for 3 years running, according to Kelley Blue Book. Love is out there. Find it in a Crosstrek.
Lease a new 2020 Subaru Crosstrek Premium for $329 a month. See the versatile Crosstrek today at Miller Hill Subaru. Online at millerhill.com.
Catch Eye on Parenting every Thursday at 6 with me, Leanne Valdez, on CBS3.
Thanks to some creative thinking between Grandma's Marathon and the city of Duluth, the Park Point 5-mile race is a go. It's the organization's first in-person race since the pandemic started. CBS3's Ryan Campo is at the race and has more on the changes made to ensure safety for all athletes.
Neil, this chip time in-person Park Point 5-mile/2-mile walk is looking a little bit different because of COVID-19 this year. Instead of one big group running at one time, Grandma's Marathon decided to hold this year's event in waves. Those 10 different waves have been going on all afternoon, each allowing 25 people to go at once. And now we are joined with one competitor, Dave Kringle. Dave, first things first, how different was the experience from normal years for you today?
Well, there's nobody else out there. I walked the whole 2 miles, didn't see another person running or walking.
Yeah. You know, did that make it any more challenging to you to
just trying to beat my own time? which was fun.
Yeah. And I know we talked off camera, you know, the difference in temperature in years previous to what it was today. You know, how good did that breeze feel coming off the lake?
It's wonderful. I remember a couple of years ago, it was in the 90s, bright sunshine. It was terrible. But I made it.
Yeah, definitely. And then, you know, do you hope, you know, more races this summer can be, you know, halved with, you know, this format that they have?
I think it worked really well. I don't know of any coming up offhand. I usually do several 5Ks every year, but I haven't signed up for anything right now. What else I can say about it?
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Coming up tonight at 10, we'll have more from other competitors throughout the event, plus still some more competitors of waves coming through. All that and more coming up tonight in sports at 10 o'clock. But for now, I'll send it back to you, Neil, in the studio.
All right, thank you, Ryan. While the Park Point 5 Miler went on in person, another area race announced a cancellation today. Ashland's Whistle Stop Marathon was canceled as of this afternoon. Officials considered many options in place of canceling, but were unable to reach a realistic solution. They also considered going virtual, but decided against it and felt that many runners are, quote, virtualed out. Runners have until August 31st to receive a refund or defer their registration to 2021. Shifting gears, the UMAC Conference announced some changes that will impact both the Saints and Yellow Jackets schedules this upcoming fall. Starting with men's and women's soccer, teams will now play 8 conference games and 2 non-conference games. Same for volleyball. They'll meet up with 8 conference teams, but will play 3 non-conference matches. As for cross country and golf, all competitions will be against league opponents. And finally, Saint Scholastica football already has had 1 non-conference game against Hamlin dropped due to the MIAC only playing conference games this upcoming fall. Now that's all for sports. Kristen, Tony, back to you.
Thanks, Neil. Well, tonight on the CBS3 News at 10, a month out from the August primary, all eyes are on a tight race for the Democratic side of the ballot for a Duluth Senate seat. Newcomer Jen McEwen is hoping to oust incumbent Eric Simonson, who just launched a TV ad ahead of the primary. Later tonight, we're hearing from both Democratic candidates about their final push to win the primary and what voters need to know about them. Well, we are now one step closer to retail automation.
In August, this Japanese kangaroo robot will arrive for work at a convenience store to stack sandwiches, drinks, and more on shelves. The robot will be operated remotely by people until the artificial intelligence has mastered mimicking workers. So why a kangaroo? Good question. Well, the CEO of the company behind this robot likes marsupials, but says it's also to help customers feel at ease.
Feel at ease? That thing's terrifying.
It looks like an evil kangaroo.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, Dave, you're tracking the potential for some severe weather out there tonight.
Yes, we weather robots are tracking storms. And now, let's get a look then at the warning that's been issued there for parts of Lake County, still in effect until 6:45. Quarter-size hail possible, just like Kristen's mom got in the Chisholm area. So folks in Lake County, please watch out. In the rest of our region, 30 to 60% chance you may face a similar situation till about 11 o'clock tonight. Taking a quick look at that hail picture from Kristen's mom, yeah, those could put a little bit of a dent on your head. So that's one of the reasons why we tell people to watch out for hail. Here's the extended forecast. Friday should be gorgeous during the day, but a bigger round of storms could be with us Friday night through a portion of Saturday.
All right, thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again at 10.